Hey everybody, hope everybody's doing well. So in this episode of our Pye Piper radio P116U, we're going to complete the replacement of all the components. We're going to put it back together and we're going to do our first power up in our test. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but we've got some pretty good results. We still have some work to do here, but at least we've got a radio that's playing here in the US, and it was really simple to do. In the next episode, not this one, I'm going to explain how I got it to work on 120 volts mains. And I'll go into some detail as to what's going on there. I'm also going to test all the B+ stuff. So that'll be in the next episode. But until then, take a look at what we've done so far, and we will see you soon. Take care, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of our Pye Piper P116U. As you can see, we've started the cleaning process, the deep cleaning process I should say. We've removed the metal plate that was here, and I haven't disconnected the wires yet for the on-off switch and volume pot and band selector switch. And here's our tuning cap. I haven't disconnected that yet. But I have started some of the cleaning process here to make sure that it was going to be consistent with what happened over here. We'll show you that. You can see we're starting to get a nice little clean luster here. This is all cleaned right up to here. So I know that when I clean the rest of this radio, it's going to be really, really good. So that's good. So our next step is going to be to carefully mark these wires, document everything carefully, and then remove all the controls. We're then going to remove this can, and we're going to restuff it, and we're going to put it back in place. And we're going to continue everything else. I also took a look at this bracket. This is the bracket that sits on the front here. And I've started to see if it's salvageable. And look at that. Look at that shine. Isn't that cool? So that's going to come up nice. And for those of you who I may not have shown this in a while, this is what I use to clean it. Mother's Mag and aluminum polish. It brings back just about every metal that I've ever tried it on. And it's really, really simple. It's actually a chemical reaction. It's not abrasive. It goes on there, you do a little bit of rubbing, it turns black, and like this, and it takes off all that tarnish and oxidation and all that stuff, and it brings it back really easy, and you just buff it, polish it, and you're good to go. I am going to put a bit of navel jelly right here. We do have some rust shining through there, and we'll clean that up, but that's the only rust I can see on this thing, and there's probably a little bit right over here. So we'll put a little bit of navel jelly there, but we're going to polish this thing up. It's going to look brand new. This is going to be nice and shiny. So we're cooking with gas. So I'll stop here. I will come back when I've got all this taken apart, and I'll show you the progress that we're making on the cleaning. All right, we shall be back. Okay, we have our bracket all shined up. I just need to do a little bit more polishing on it, but you could see it looks brand new. Pretty cool. I also did the inside. The inside has a little more staining that I'm going to try to get rid of. But there's a mirror image there. This stuff is really good. This Mother's Mag stuff. Anyway, let's move forward. Just to keep things interesting, I'm jumping around a little bit here. So I pulled out the electrolytic. And it's a Doublier dritlytic capacitor. Type BR/T. It's a 50/50. At 275/350, and it says red outer foil, can negative, observed polarity, made in England, NF1. I tested it, and it actually tested good, but I didn't do a resistance test, but it doesn't matter, it's coming out, it's too old. So we've taken the can out, we've cleaned the can out, here's the insides right here. It's pretty dry, so it's probably didn't have much life left in it. So we're going to restuff it. We're going to mount this disc back on the bottom. We're going to put the leads from our replacement caps, which are going to be 47s, right through the bottom, and we'll mount them right to the circuit board. So that part's done. Be back. Okay, we have our electrolytic capacitor restuffed, and here are the two legs that come out of the 47s. There's a pair of them in there. And what I elected to do is have the grounds come up through the top. There's a little tab here that was included on the can, so I've attached it to that and soldered it. Someone that's trained will recognize this, but nobody else will. So it's there, it's connected, it's nice and solid. This jacket is the ground. So we're in good shape here. I may clean this up a little bit, but we're good to go. As you can see, we're making really good progress. We've replaced that good old Hunt's capacitor, the one that exploded and broke open. Same thing here. We've been cleaning the board. We have this 4 microfarad cap restuffed and reinstalled. We haven't put this one in yet. And we're working our way around the board. We have a couple of capacitors here and here and here we need to change. These are some of our resistors, which we're going to check the value of those and replace them if needed. These are some of your heavier 4 watt deals or 5 watt deals. So we're making progress, and you can see how clean the board's coming. It's looking really good. So we're almost there. So all the resistors have been replaced, with the exception of this one, and we'll talk about that one when we try to do our first power up. So let's continue. We just have a little bit more grime around here on these tube sockets here to clean. But we're getting there. Alright, we'll be back when all the stuff has been replaced, and then we'll talk about how our first power up and how that's going to work. Okay, here's our radio with all of the parts replaced that I'm going to at least do for now until I do some testing. But we've got most of the important caps replaced, all the resistors. I have to rewire this resistor, which I'll show you in the next segment. And there's a couple of 100 puff caps in there that I'm going to leave for now until I do some testing. Here's all the fallen soldiers that have come out, and you could see our good friend the crusty Hunt capacitors right here. Here's one, here's another. So those are the fallen soldiers. There's one more wax capacitor on the speaker that we're going to change, and let's salute the fallen soldiers.
Celebrate like an Italian. Cheers. Salute. I'm here in Bivongi with my new acquired friends, and Italians love to celebrate with a glass of wine, but what's before drinking is saluting. Allora, 1, 2, 3, cheers!
Okay, we're back. So this is where we are. Alright, so next step is going to be to rewire this thing so that it'll work on 120 volt AC. And we have a little mod that we're going to do to boost the B+. Then we're going to put it up on a Variac and test it. So that's going to be exciting. Maybe we'll hear some sound out of it. We also need to put the controls back on and all that stuff. I'll do that off camera. So that's going to be the on-off switch, the volume control, the band selector switch, and the tuning cap, which I still need to clean. That's right here. Needs to be cleaned. So we'll get to that. And here's our band switch. Alright. And our volume pot, we're going to clean that with some deoxit and the power switch and make sure all that's good. And that's right here. Okay? So we're getting close, guys. So let me go do some of that and we shall return. Okay, we're just about to start putting this thing back together. We're just about done with the cleaning process. Just a little bit more to do here, but I want to just kind of update you here. I did clean the volume pot, which is a 1 mech pot. Cleaned off all the lugs, so we're ready to do that. We've cleaned off our selector switch with alcohol and acetone, so that's ready to go. And I'm just about to clean this tuning cap. One thing I want to mention here, Phil, our good friend Phil, said to me, which I think is pretty reasonable, it makes a lot of sense. This is a 200 ohm resistor right here. Okay? And I'll show you on the schematic where that is. Matter of fact, let's pop the schematic open now, and let's see which one that is. And that's important because I want to explain to you why Phil thinks that you should change it. So that 200 ohm resistor it's actually 220, and it's listed as R13 on the schematic. And if we look at the schematic right here, R13 right up here, and it goes right up here to V4, which in our case, a lot of references here. V4 is the output tube, okay? So R13 looks like it comes up here to the cathode, and it's right there, sorry. Comes up right here to the cathode of the output tube, okay? So Phil's suggestion on this thing was, listen, you know, this is a very large resistor. It's only a 1/4 watt, I think, or it's maybe just a watt. But you know, this outer coating over time has been exposed to moisture, condensation, elements. And the way that they have this thing rammed in between these two tubes, it could be open to conducting across, which we don't want. So Phil suggested take this out of there, another fallen soldier, take this out, and let's replace it with a 1-watt resistor, and we'll be good. So we're going to do that. And now we're going to start putting everything back together. We're going to wire all the things back together, and we're going to do our first test. All right, so I wanted to explain what we're doing there, and then we're going to make this thing ready to rock on 120 volts in the US, and we're going to see if we get any British stations. That's what I'm hoping for.
Peter, you've been fiddling with that ham radio for 7 weeks. Take a shower.
I can barely get any reception on this stupid thing. So far, the only station that comes in is some British guys reading news from places I'm not sure exist.
Today, in Kazakhstan, a peaceful demonstration turned to bloodshed as members of the Tuzili tribe flooded Kenpao Square in remembrance of the 3rd anniversary of the Holmesburg massacre. But finally, some good news out of neighbouring Kanduzi, as locals there have reached an uneasy alliance with the bordering Trolika Bubsy Wubsy Dal. And now with sports, here's Frampton Tromwibbler.
From the world of sport, the Cointon Spinky Wompers flumped the Floing Boing Welfenklompers 70 fluff to 40 flabe. At the tone, the time will be 26 railroad.
I'm not sure about any of that.
All right, we'll be back. Okay, we're making great progress here. You can see we're getting things back together. We have our volume, our band selector switch, and our tuning cap in place. We've got our support band here, and we're going to clean this a little bit up here. What we have really left to do now is get this thing connected to power, and we're going to use our mods, and of course we have to reconnect our speaker. And our mod again is going to be to utilize 120 volts on this thing, and we're going to do so by tying this resistor together. And I'll explain this on the schematic after we get it working. We're going to tie all these ends of this resistor together, and we're going to bypass the plate of the rectifier tube. We're going to disconnect that, and we're going to put in a pair of 100 microfarad caps and diodes, and we're going to create a new B+ rail, which will suffice for this radio. So that's going to be the plan. So now I'm going to do some of that mod work and the wiring. I do have this area right here. I'll show you. There's going to be a cap that was, if you remember this cap I showed you, it's going to be eliminated, and this is where we're going to build a little circuit card with the B+ rectifier and the, B+ diodes and the capacitors. That's going to get mounted right here. I'm not going to create any new holes. There's already an existing hole here, and we're going to mount everything right here, and there's a bird available for free if anybody wants it. So let's get cracking on that. This radio is going to be coming to life any minute now, so you'll be the first to hear it. Be right back. Okay, we're getting ready to do our first power-up test, and I pulled out the speaker from the cabinet, and there was a tear right here. So, of course, what we all do in these things is I've removed this piece of cardboard. I put a coffee filter, saturated with Elmer's glue, made a nice repair, put this back on. We're just going to let it dry. So we won't be testing anything until that's nice and dry. You can see it's still very wet. So let's move on. Okay, we're about to do our first power-up attempt here. I think I've got everything right. So these wires right here go to my speaker. Okay, and this green wire right here, and there's a black one underneath it, are the power. That's going to be my 120 coming in onto the switch. And then I have this red wire here, which is a jumper. And what I'm doing is I'm jumping these resistors. Let me move this so you can see it. I'm jumping R15, R16, and R17 together, which should give me about 1.5K. And that should be enough to bring the filament voltage down to about 110, 115 volts. Now, if this thing works, it may not be very powerful, because I think B+ is probably not going to be strong enough. But we'll measure that. But let's just see if we've got everything wired right. I've got my, let me just show you this really quick. I have my little box there ready to go. Okay, I'm not going to use the dim bulb on this because there probably wouldn't be enough pull going through it. So, all right, let's turn the switch on.
Here goes nothing. I've never skied before, so here goes nothing.
Who's Frank and Alicia?
You and I spent a lot of time together. Can there be a little mystery between us?
Okay, everything's hooked up. We're ready.
I am going to record this for posterity.
All right, here goes nothing.
Here goes nothing. This is the initial test of our prototype. Can we give it a little more gravitas?
Fine. Preliminary trial of the Infinite Persistence Gyroscopic Navigational System, Phase 1, commencing.
Let's turn on our variac. Okay, everything's good. And we're going to go slowly up here. And I'll just call out where we are. We're currently at 30 volts. I don't expect a lot to happen here because those tubes are not going to light up quickly. We don't see any smoke, that's good. We are up to 60 volts. So far so good. I'm not pulling any amperage here at all. Let's go up to 80. Not much happening yet. Let's go up to 90. There's 90. I can't see any tube lights, but the tubes are really dirty. I didn't clean them yet. Oh, wait. I hear something. Whoa. Let's bring this up to 100.
On ESPN Radio and on ESPN, presented by...
Check that out. Let's go up to the full 120.
Was put on the internet. The boy said his dream is to become a professional ballet dancer, and that just might happen now.
There we go, 120.
Saw the video, and the young.
I don't want to stress that speaker out yet because I want it to dry better.
On ESPN Radio and the ESPN
That sounds pretty
app,
damn
and be sure
good.
to tell your smart speaker to play ESPN
The speaker's
app
upside
now
down, so we're not getting the full sound here.
Oh, Justin Timberlake. Wow. What am I talking about?
Wow.
I'm in the wrong. I'm in.
1, 2, 3, chin. Chin chin is kind of the sound, the phonetic sound of two glasses, meaning celebration is on the way.
I'm in.
Let's change the band. See what happens. Not much happening there. I want to get a copyright hit.
Congrats. I know you're
Wow.
a part of Daily Wager. I want to hear more about your life on the
I'm
strip.
going to tell you something. I think we're getting enough B+ here.
Well, you guys know me, so to reduce the...
I got plenty of volume coming out of this thing.
Anything stupid, I'm not living on the strip. I'm out in Summerlin, and so, that keeps me away from temptation and danger here in Sin City.
All right, our next step here is let's measure the B+. Now, I'm looking through the documentation. I have to look and see what it expects to see. I'm going to have to look up these tubes also and get a feel for what I'm supposed to be getting, but this sounds pretty good to me the way it is.
So far, and I only hope that goes up.
Jordan's so jealous.
I mean, all I can say, Tyler, before we get into the business of you making a whole lot of people money out here.
Well, Phil, it's playing. This is great. So we've actually passed step 1, right, which is getting the components replaced, and it powers up and it doesn't blow up. Now I just need to figure out what we're going to do to finalize it. I don't know if I need to put the mod in for the B+ anymore. I got to look into that. But we'll do that in the next episode. So until then, thanks for watching.